Hey, Allison here with Southland Goldens. I am here with Tucker for your final training video. So you have a puppy from us, so you know the spill. But I want to go over all the hand signals and verbal cues that Tucker knows. Super important that you stay on the same page with those. If not, the training means absolutely nothing. It's a foreign language for Tucker. So we're going to break this into different segments where I can go over sit, down, place, crate, here, all the things that he knows. Tucker is a very smart boy. He loves his people, very social, very eager to please. I always tell people when a puppy comes home, they take a step back in their training, potty training, everything. This is just for a very short period of time. It is while Tucker gets used to you being his new handler. So, patience is key. Also, we want to make sure that we go at this at a slow pace. We don't want to overwhelm Tucker when we come in. We want to make sure we keep it as calm as possible. Right, big guy? Right. Yeah. Okay, I'll get down here. You mean pet you? Good boy, good boy. I know, my social little boy. So again, make sure that when he comes in, the best thing, if it can be calm, let him kind of sniff his way around, get used to everything. You know what to do. If you have any questions, of course, you can let me know. I'm going to send the schedule over that we have Tucker on, the amount of food that we are feeding. You'll see that I've got my training pouch right here. I'll also send you some of the puppy training treats that we like. We do mix his kibble in, so it's not a lot of calories as far as just tons of treats. Also, you'll see right here, I've got my clicker. So every time Tucker does a behavior that I like, I mark it and then always follow with the reward. Now, Tucker knows that when the clicker goes off, even right now, he knows that, hey, I've done something that Allison likes, and I'm going to continue to do that behavior. So you can click to mark the behavior, and then you have time to get your treats out because he knows, hey, that's what the click marks the behavior, and our reward is to follow. Anytime you use the clicker, make sure you always follow with a reward. Right. Yes, yes. He's still a puppy. So again, we want to make sure we have him on a schedule. We don't want to give him free roam of the home for potty training purposes. We want to make sure we kind of, limit his space at first till he learns where his potty spot is at home. Don't be afraid to use your crate. Puppies sleep a lot. Crate training is the best way, in my opinion, to potty train a dog. Now, once he's, over the whole potty training process and you have a puppy that you can trust is not going to destroy anything out of the teething phase, then we can do away with the crate. But for now, I do recommend the crate. Again, I want to say thank you so much for choosing Southland Goldens. If you have any questions, always happy to help. Just pick up the phone, give me a call. But this is your sweet boy, Tucker. You ready to get started? You want to show him what you know? Okay, let's go. Our first command is sit. This is the most simple command. Anytime we ask Tucker to sit, what we do is we take our hand just like this with a fist and we say, Tucker, sit. For example, come on, big guy. Tucker, sit. Yes. So as soon as his bottom hits the ground, that's when I'm going to click and mark the behavior. Now, the most important thing is that I continue to mark this behavior because what we want is for Tucker to stay seated until I say, okay, and tap the side of my leg. Now, at that point, Tucker's free to get up, walk around, or to stay seated. Again, it's on my terms, not on his. So for sit, we just say, Tucker, sit. Yes. Now, this command you can do with the verbal cues or with the hand signal, either one. Good boy. Again, we're going to make sure that he stays seated until I say, okay, and tap the side of my leg. So this time, I'm going to try to do it with just the hand signal. He's so eager to please. Come on. You knew it was coming. Yes, you did. Such a smart boy. Okay. Tucker, sit. Yes. Good. So again, super simple command, okay? And the fact that all you have to do is take your fist. You're going to say, Tucker, sit. As soon as his bottom hits the ground, that's when you're going to mark that behavior. and continue to mark that behavior until you release him by saying, okay, and tap the side of your leg. Now, as he gets a little bit older, his attention span gets longer. We don't have to click as frequently. We just want to make sure that Tucker knows that when we ask him to sit, that he sits and stays seated until we release him by saying, okay, and that is sit. Our next command is down. So anytime we ask Tucker to lay down, we're going to take our hand, lower it to the ground, and say down. Now, at this age, because down is a hard command for puppies to grasp, I like to go ahead and put a piece of his kibble in my hand. And I take my hand and I say, Tucker, down. Go ahead and lower it. As soon as his belly is on the ground, I'm going to mark that behavior. And same thing as sit. I'm going to continue to mark this behavior because I want Tucker to stay laying down until I say, okay, and tap the side of my leg. Good boy, Tucker. Good boy, good boy, good boy. Okay, so for again, Tucker, down. There we go. As soon as his belly hits the ground, I then release the treat. Yes, good down. Good down, Tucker. And he knows to stay laying down until I say, okay. So again, you just take your hand, you're going to lower it down to the ground, and you're going to say, Tucker, down. I'm going to do it this time without a treat. Sometimes he'll stay laying down, sometimes he'll pop right back up. Tucker, down. Good. So I've marked the behavior. Then I can get a reward. Good boy, Tucker. Yes. Good boy. Okay. Again, one more time for down, you're just going to take your hand, lower it to the ground, say Tucker, down. As soon as his belly is on the ground, you're going to click to mark the behavior and then follow with a treat. And don't forget, he is to stay there until you release him by saying, okay, good boy. Our next command is place. So place is the elevated Kuranda beds. The Kuranda beds are actually on our supply recommendation page. They are my favorite. It gives the puppy a boundary to stay on. So when I tell Tucker to go to his place, he knows that he can sit, lay down, stand up, walk around, but he has to stay on there. So super simple. We just walk over, say, Tucker, place. As soon as all four paws get on the place board, that is when I click to mark the behavior. I then can take my time to get his reward, but he knows that he is to stay on this place board until I release him. Same as the other commands. I want you to stand here and continue to mark the place because what we are doing is we are continuing to train Tucker that when I tell him place, it doesn't just mean, hey, run, touch the place board, and then take off. It means, hey, stay on this place board until I release you. Now he's got to get used to you being his trainer and in his new home. So we're going to mark pretty frequently. Good boy. And to release him, we're just going to say, okay. When I tap the side of my leg and say, okay, Tucker is free to stay on the place board or he can get off. Again, my terms, not on his. So for place, when he comes to you in your home, he has no clue where the place board is. I do recommend that you leave it in the same spot. So when you say Tucker place, he will eventually learn, hey, where to go. But in the beginning, you're going to say Tucker place, place. You're going to walk over and point to the place board. As soon as all four paws get on the place board, that's when you mark the behavior. And then I want you to stand there. We're going to practice taking a couple steps back, coming back, rewarding him. Good boy. Good boy. He knows he's to stay there. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Until I say, okay. So for place, you're just going to walk over, point, say Tucker place. As soon as all four paws get on the place board, click and mark that behavior. Release him by just saying, okay. tap the side of your leg, and do try to keep it in the same location in your home, because as he gets older, attention span gets longer. He is going to learn when you say Tucker place, he knows where to go and where to stay until you release him. And that is place. Our next command is crate. So crate is very similar to place in the fact that what you're going to do is you're going to walk over to your crate. Again, I recommend leaving it in the same location. So what you do is you say, Tucker, crate, Tucker, crate. As soon as all 4 paws get in, that is when we mark the behavior. Good boy. Follow it with a reward. And he's to stay in there until I say, okay, and release him. Again, just like place, walk over and point. So all you have to do is say, Tucker, crate. All 4 paws are in. I'm going to mark that behavior. There you go. Now all 4 paws are in. Good boy. Continue to mark this because I want him to stay in the crate until I either release him or I can shut the door. Our next command is stay. So anytime we ask Tucker to stay, what we're going to do is we're going to hold our hand up like a stop sign. And in a pretty firm tone, we're going to say, Tucker, stay, stay, stay. I will admit this is not Tucker's favorite command. I know, he's a very social puppy, so he wants to be really close to us. Tucker, stay, stay. Tucker, here. Yes. There's my happy boy. Good boy. Good boy, Tucker. Good boy. Okay. Again, remember their attention span at this age is very short. So we're not going to ask Tucker to stay and then go all the way across the yard. I want you to just take a couple steps back and make sure we set him up for success. That way he knows, hey, you're going to release me, and we're going to continue to build on that as his attention span gets longer. Okay. So let's do Tucker. Stay. 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 Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Stay. Stay. Tucker, here. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Tucker, place. Yes. Good boy. Tucker, stay. Stay. Tucker, here. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. So again, for stay, what you do is you hold your hand up like a stop sign in a pretty firm tone. You're going to say, Tucker, stay. And that is stay. Our next command is here. So anytime we call Tucker here, what we are going to do is we're going to take our hand, lower it down by our leg, and we're going to say Tucker here. As soon as his nose touches, he heard me, Tucker here. As soon as his nose touches my hand, you're going to see that he automatically sits down. Now, once he sits, that's when I reward the behavior. So you don't have to ask him to sit. I'm going to go over this one a couple of times because it has a lot of moving parts. Okay, so again, take your hand, you're going to lower it down, you're going to say Tucker here. What we are looking for, we want his nose to touch our hand and him to automatically sit. You do not have to ask for the sit. The reason for that is when I call a dog to me, I want to trust that they're going to come all the way, which is why we require that their nose touches our hand. I also want to ensure that the dog is going to stay when I call them to me. I don't like a dog when I call them to me that they come flying past me or they sit for a half a second and then they're gone. So what we do is we train them to touch their nose, automatically sit, and then to stay seated until we release them by saying, okay. My little shadow. Okay, so again, I'm going to come back over here. Tucker, here. So watch his nose. His nose is now touched. He automatically sits, and that's when I mark the behavior. Now Tucker knows that he is to stay here because we have taught him when he sits to stay seated until I release him. So the same thing with the other sit. We're going to continue to mark this behavior until we release him by saying, okay. Tucker, here. Yes, good boy, good boy. So you'll see that I click and mark the behavior as soon as his bottom hits the ground. Okay. But it's very important that his hand touches, or his nose touches my hand. Tucker, here, because that way I've got a dog. If we're in an emergency, I can get a hold of his collar. He's right here all the way to me. He's gone into an auto sit, so I can get a hold of him in case we're somewhere that there's maybe a lot of traffic or a not so friendly dog or something like that. Okay, I want to have a dog that I trust comes all the way to me when I call them. Tucker, here. Yes, and he is also going to stay there until I release him. So we want to continue to mark this so that he knows once he gets home to you that, hey, I have to stay seated when I'm called here, oops, until my owner drops the treat or releases me. Okay, that was my fault, Tucker. I'm going to go all the way back over here. Tucker, here. Yes. Good boy, good boy. Again, take your right hand, lower it down. I'm going to say Tucker here. As soon as his nose touches, like this, and he sits, that's when you're going to mark the behavior and then follow with a reward. Good boy. And that is here.